What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chase, CR Media, as some of y'all might know me. I got a special guest with me tonight, guys. Right here to my right, I think this always gets messed up. It might be your left, but uh, hello, hello. Can you hear me now? I can hear you, sir. Baby, can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear nothing.
All right, chat says they can hear me. Um, here let's take him off and then
What
bring you
is
back
going
in.
on?
What about now?
Can I can't hear nothing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great, brother. What about now?
What the hell is going on?
All right, guys. So as you can see, we're dealing with a little bit of technical difficulties here. Give me and my guest here tonight a second here, and we'll see if we can't get something going for you. Okay.
Oh, what the hell?
All right. Let's do this. No, 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 no. Boom. There we go. So boom. All right. So cool, cool. Raz, are you still here, brother? Appreciate that, sir. So, uh, this was last minute. Um, I knew Josh wasn't going to be here. I tried looking for a co-host and nobody was biting. So I jumped on asking my friend here, and um, and seeing if he was interested. And like I said, luckily for me, he jumped in at the last second, which I appreciate him doing. And like I said, sounded like we were dealing with some technical difficulties here. So I'm gonna see. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, uh, Josh is Josh is in a situation right now where it looks like Josh is probably going to not be able to do the Dynamite post shows. So it looks like it's either going to be me solo or looking for somebody permanent. Definitely, Raz, if you're interested, man. Hit me up, send me a message, and we'll work something out for future episodes, man. Um, would love to get Kingpin back in here if we can. If not, completely understand. Trying to see if while I'm waiting on Kingpin to see if he's coming back in. It would be interesting to do a live chat situation. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Like I said, we kind of do it on a. Oh, there he is.
Can you
Let's
hear me?
see. Yeah, we can hear you great,
There
brother.
we go. What the hell was that? Sorry about
Oh,
that.
awesome, awesome. Okay, we
There
got
we
you.
go. There we go.
Hell yes.
I don't know
Okay,
what happened.
so I don't know either, man. Like sometimes I'll do it too, but usually when I do it, man, like it's just because I have myself muted. So
Yeah, I
um,
checked all that. It was so weird. But whatever. It works now. So
you're
let's do
good.
it.
You're good, man. Like I was telling my friend Raz here, my usual co-host Josh, he's got three babies at home. One's
Oh,
a brand new
damn.
baby, and then he's got two twins that are like 2 year olds. So the twins just started swimming lessons. He wanted to do this show, but it's just not in the cards for him. So and I don't like talking to myself for an hour. I can do it, but I just don't. Um, so I was telling Raz, I hit you up last minute,
Yeah, he did.
not
What's going
like
on,
yeah,
Raz? Thank you.
absolutely. So, this is Pro Wrestling Kingpin. As y'all might know him on TikTok. There's his handle right there. Definitely go give him a follow. Uh, Kingpin, you got a name?
Mark. You call me Mark.
Mark. Okay,
Yep.
Mark. Cool. I appreciate that. Sometimes when you ask somebody like, "Hey, what's your name?" They're like, it's right there. It's the tag." So I
Nah, man.
appreciate it.
The Kingpin's my gimmick. It's my gimmick.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely.
Right.
Wilson Fisk is one of my favorite villains, dude.
Yeah,
Always has
I'm a
been.
big comic book guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I review comic books on Instagram actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big thing for me.
Yeah. No, um I was not a big comic book kid, but when I got older, I got into them. So, like,
Same.
my love for Wilson Fisk came from the '90s Spider-Man cartoon,
Okay, yeah, there you go.
the animated series.
Same actually. I mean, he became one of my favorite characters.
Yeah,
Him and Magneto are the goat in my opinion. You
yep.
know, but
I
that's a whole other conversation, man. We'll be here for
It is,
hours.
it is. I don't, and we do this sometimes. We get a little sidetracked sometimes. So I'm going to ask you, man. Did you did you like Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin in the Daredevil Netflix series?
Loved it.
Dude,
It was
I
amazing.
kind of my I'm gonna be honest with you, Mark, dude. My heart kind of skipped a beat for a second, dude, when you hesitated because I was like, oh man, he's about to shit all over it.
No, 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 no. I loved it, man. It was amazing.
Good,
So
good.
yeah, I hope he continues with the role. So
Well, like I said, Mark, I appreciate you joining with us tonight. Love your content on TikTok, man. We kind
appreciate it.
of kind of share a lot of the same opinions, so that's what kind of like gravitated me to. I was like, man, I'd really love to. I know I mentioned something about doing this with Rampage and SmackDown, and you were like, nah, I work. So, uh, you
Yeah,
know,
my work schedule sucks, man. I work for the government, so they tell me what to do pretty much. So
that's all right, man.
yeah,
If they don't tell you what to do with work, they're going to tell you what to do with other stuff. So,
yeah. So that's what it is. That's what it is.
like I said, man, this when I approached you about that Rampage thing, this wasn't open, and now this is open. So, I'd love to keep doing something like this. If you have fun tonight, you let me know. Other than that, man,
Yeah,
we'll
for sure.
we'll get right into it. Um,
But I
kind of
appreciate you
an
having me,
exciting,
man.
yeah, absolutely. Kind of an exciting card for me. Um, that Dorana Perrazzo and Mercedes Martinez match had been billed all week. We were going to get an undisputed ROH Women's Champion. Um, we'll get into that match, but I will start off just by saying like I'm not too shocked at the outcome of that match. Um,
Did you like the outcome of the match?
I, I'm a big Deanna Perrazzo fan, man.
Same, man.
Um,
I was very disappointed. I was very
I you
disappointed.
know it, and I I don't I tend to not listen to like I try not to listen to people who are overly biased about either or, whether it's
Right.
WWE or AEW. And
Right.
a lot of like anti AEW guys were like, all they're doing is having AEW guys win the ROH championships. And I was worried that this was going to happen tonight. And when it did, I was like, so now I'm gonna have to stay off TikTok for a couple days because I know there's gonna be a bunch of douchebags on there that are like,
Dude, there's so many
we told,
trolls. So many
yeah,
trolls.
we told you that all Tony Khan was gonna do was make AEW guys win the ROH titles. So whatever,
Is Martinez actually signed with AEW though? Is
I'm
she
pretty sure
officially
she
signed?
is. Yeah,
Yeah, because I thought she.
I'm
I actually thought she was with Impact.
no, she. I think she
Yeah,
did like a short stint with Impact, and then I'm pretty sure she signed a contract with AEW. Raz, are you saying yes, she is with Impact, or yes, she is with AEW?
I think with AEW. And Raz got a lot to say about that match, huh?
Yeah,
Got to hear
yeah.
that one. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed. I think Peraza should have won that match.
She is AEW. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm in agreement with you, man. I wanted Perazzo to continue winning, and I was hoping that maybe Impact could work something out to where she could do both. She could do both AEW and Impact. Um, you know,
I mean, it could
like I
be
said,
done. It could be done. I
yeah,
mean, they did it with the whole Omega thing, so I mean, it could be done. I mean, honestly, besides Britt Baker, Peraza's probably my favorite female star. That's outside of WWE,
yeah.
hands
Uh,
down.
Agreed. I'm a big Deanna Perrazzo fan, big Britt Baker fan. I like the majority of AEW's women's roster. I just don't like how they're handling a lot of them. Um, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth with the women's division in AEW because sometimes I feel like they're booking it pretty well, and sometimes it's just like, what are we doing here? You know,
yeah,
it's like I
yeah, no,
so one of my big arguments when it comes to women's matches is that WWE only puts the effort into women's championship matches, whether it be the heavyweight championship or just the tag team championships. And I felt like
yeah,
I'll give credit to AEW where they're at least trying to make significant feuds that don't revolve around the championship, and that's what I always loved. So I'll give them that. It's just I feel like their stories are still stale.
yeah, no. I agree. Like unless the championship is involved, I'm. I mean, take a look at what they're doing with like Dana Brooke and Tamina Snuka. It's dog shit. Take a look at what they're doing with like why is Tamina and Dana Brooke competing for the 24/7 title? Why is the 24/7 title a thing, etc. Like it's shit. Um, the it looks like they might be doing something promising with Becky and Asuka, but I mean, what about Sasha and Naomi? Like, the I will agree that the women's division is better in WWE, but
Oh
don't
yeah,
act like the booking is much better. We're one or two good bookings away in AEW from it being just as good, if not better, than WWE's. And that's why I'm having a hard time understanding why it's so hard for for AEW to get this women's division right. Like they have the talent, so like what are we waiting for? Is
yeah.
my stance on it.
No, I agree. I agree on that actually 100%. It's just I'm always an advocate for having feuds that don't revolve around the championship, and that's why I give AEW a little bit of credit. So like
Yeah,
with the whole Serena D Hikaru Shida thing, I thought that was great. A lot of people thought it was kind of boring. I got a lot of trolls coming at me when I'm making my videos about them, but I thought it was great. It didn't revolve around the championship. I felt like it really kind of pushed Serena Deeb a little bit. It gave Hikaru Shida something to do post championship. So I mean, I liked it, but I feel like a lot of promotions and even not just AEW, they just have a hard time booking women in
yeah.
general. It's like
No, I agree.
it's very hard to just get somebody invested in a feud, and that's why I still, like I said, I keep giving AEW a little bit of credit just because they're trying a lot more than others. Because in WWE, in my opinion, it's just championship or nothing, whether it be
Yeah,
tag team championship, even the 24/7 bullshit, or the women's championship. It's championship or nothing when it comes to the women's division. There's no
yeah.
substance anywhere.
Yeah, and they've got a great women's division over there. So they've got a great women's division in both companies, in all three companies. And I feel like, and like that's what's sad is I feel like Impact is doing more with their women than both those companies combined.
I think Impact has always done that though. Even
Yeah,
the knockouts division, I mean, their tag team divisions, like they've always done their women well. And I
yeah,
mean, Impact's definitely fallen since the 2000s, but the women's division has always been decent, no matter even who's in it, whether they have the whole, you know, elite stars in Impact, but they've always done something where it has you invested.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we'll get to that match, but the opening match was an Owen Hart Foundation Cup qualifier, with Jeff Hardy versus Bobby Fish, and this was weird. I think after this match, or maybe it was the other Owen Hart match, later on in the show, they finally released a damn bracket.
Yeah,
Um,
I already actually posted a video on that bracket. I'm
yeah,
glad you brought that up. I really want to talk about it.
yeah. No,
I got some predictions.
dude, I was heated. I've been heated for the past couple weeks.
Really?
Because, dude, like they've been billing this. They've been billing this Owen Hart tournament for the past like 3 months, man,
Right, right.
and then they don't fucking post a bracket until tonight. So then I was like, where is this bracket? How do we know who's in this? We're
I
just
mean,
having random ass matches.
it was just
So
qualifiers. It was qualifiers to make the bracket. I mean, it makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Now, yeah. See, and now, like I said, now that I've seen the bracket, now it makes sense. Where
Right.
before it was like, man, like what? Like why are we just putting random guys together or what? So, um, so then I guess my question for you, I asked my other co-host this, but do you think this tournament concludes at Double or Nothing?
Ooh, Double Nothing's the 28th. And what are we at right now? The 4th? I mean, it's quite possible they're gonna have to do like 2 matches a week. So I think you have to at this point, right? Because I mean, or AEW is not like WWE where they have pay per views every month. So I mean,
Yeah,
I think it has to conclude at Double or Nothing.
yeah, and I don't think that I think this tournament is big enough. I'm a humongous Owen Hart fan. I was there live to watch Owen Hart take his last breath.
Oh
Um,
shit! Really?
yeah, yeah, it was in Kansas City, brother.
Oh my
Over the
goodness!
over the over the edge, 1999. Man, he was supposed to win the Intercontinental Championship against the Godfather,
Damn.
as the Blue Blazer. And dude, I was 11, and I was with one of my friends who was a few years older than me, and he Owen Hart was his favorite wrestler, and he's standing right next to me, and me included. Like I said, I was 11, and a bunch of people around us, like almost half the arena, were laughing because they thought it was a doll, they thought it was a dummy. And then like when everybody realized that it wasn't, everybody just the like you could feel the air sucked out of the arena. So and
That's
then like
insane.
so and his wife, dude, his wife sued. It was in Kemper Arena in Kansas City. She sued Kemper Arena, she sued Kansas City, she sued WWE, she sued the production company that helped WWE set up. Like, dude, she sued everybody.
Yeah, she
Like
should
she
have.
put she pulled no punches at all. She went after everybody. And
Good.
like she's been vocal about it for years, not just on like Dark Side of the Ring, but she's been vocal about it for years that she just had no interest in WWE, Vince McMahon, the Hall of Fame, nothing. So
Well,
when
I'm just
AEW,
glad. Yeah, I'm just glad like he's somewhere now. You know what I mean?
yeah, so when AEW announced the tournament, I was like, dude, that's huge.
It
That's
is
huge that
huge.
his wife would even meet somebody halfway and be like, yeah, I'll let you use his name, and you know, I'll let you do this and that. So,
But it's just
I'm
good to have it all around wrestling. You know what I mean? So it is huge.
yeah,
It's a very big deal in the wrestling community, no matter what. Very
yeah,
big deal.
he was a
Yeah.
huge influence on a bunch of people. We've seen a bunch of TikToks lately. I think one guy, Sledge, asked, Like if Owen Hart was alive and in his prime today, who would you like to see him face? Because they said back then that he was so ahead of his time, that he could have banger matches with Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, guys like that. So, um,
Brian Danielson. That's my
Brian,
number
yeah,
one guy.
yeah,
That's why that's what I pick. There's nobody else.
yeah.
Like he would be the number one guy. 100%.
So with this Owen Hart Cup qualifier with Jeff Hardy and Bobby Fish, um, we saw Hardy win. Was that surprising?
No, I think they wanted the whole dream match between him and Darby. I
See,
mean,
and I had asked this question a couple weeks ago. That if like if we were gonna get Darby and Jeff, how would you book it? Would you book it where Darby turns heel, or because I didn't want to see the old, oh, like, hey, I respect you, you
you
respect
don't want to
me.
see it. You want someone turning
I,
heel.
that's what I want. I was hoping to see, to get, because I mean, what do we want to see? We don't want to see Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin in a normal ass wrestling match. I want to see Darby and Jeff in a hardcore match. I want to see somebody go through some tables. I want to see somebody jump off a ladder. And to me, just trying to sell me the whole "I respect you, you respect me. Let's go out there and beat the shit out of each other with a ladder." That doesn't sell. I gotta have some heat. I gotta have some anger and some animosity with it. So
To have that match, that match is not going to happen. The type of match that you want to see is not going to happen in the tournament. The tournament's going
yeah,
to be strictly one on one, a straight up wrestling bout. In honor of Owen. I mean, maybe either one of them turn heel. I mean, whether it be maybe a Willow or
yeah.
maybe Darby turning and maybe someone wins dirty and eventually getting that rematch. But having someone going through tables or a ladder, I don't think it's going to happen in the first round of this tournament. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, no, absolutely. Like I
Yeah.
said, that's why I could see Jeff winning. And then Jeff kind of sunning Darby, like, hey, like, better luck next time, kid. And then Darby going, I think I'm better than you. And then Darby possibly costing him the next match. That's how I would like to see it.
So if
Darby
you
is
so if Darby turns, he can't stay with Sting. And then what do
he
you do with
can't
Sting? And then what do you do with Sting?
exactly. I know. So
There's a
it's
lot of
at
money.
a
Sting just being there just brings money. I mean, everyone buying his
absolutely.
shirts, appearances. I mean, him and Darby. I mean, yeah, they eventually got to break up, probably. But I mean, it's just what do you do with Sting? That's the unfortunately that's the bigger issue right now, because
Let
Darby turning heel would be fantastic, but it's
Hey,
like,
let's
what do you do with
let's
Sting?
let's fantasy book this thing, my dude.
All
Let's
right,
let's turn Darby full ass heel.
all right.
So Darby goes off the deep end, costs Jeff his match, the next match in the Owen Hart tournament, and then Sting gets upset with him. He's like, "Yo, hey, like, that's not what we're about." And then Darby tells him to keep his mouth shut. And then Darby beats the shit out of him and puts him in retirement, and then faces Jeff 1-on-1. And they have a banger with ladders and tables and
Yeah, it's got to be a
all
ladder
kinds of stuff.
match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got to be.
It's got to be a ladder. I mean, Jeff has to do some type of big ladder match eventually. So I mean, why not the dream match that you're gonna want with Darby, right?
Yeah, and like I said, man, to bring those aspects in. I mean, that's what we want to see. We want to see Darby versus Jeff, and that we want to see hardcore stuff involved, hardcore elements. And you just can't sell me a hardcore match with two guys that are like, I respect you, you respect me. Let's go out there and hit each other with ladders. It just doesn't work.
So you predict some type of turn in the first round.
I wouldn't say right now. It's got to happen eventually, though. If we're gonna get Darby versus Jeff in any type of hardcore element, it's got to happen. Somebody's got to turn. Like I said, there's got to be some sort of heat or animosity there. You
Right.
can't sell me two baby faces beating the shit out of each other with ladders.
So who
It's not
who
believable.
Who officially wins that match? What's your prediction? So one thing that kind of annoys me about AEW, and it's rare because you see how big of an advocate I am about AEW.
Yeah, no, I
One
understand.
yeah, one thing that really annoys me about AEW that every time they have a tournament, it's predictable
Yeah.
every single time.
And see, and that was, and I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I thought that's why they weren't gonna release the brackets, was because they weren't gonna release the brackets because they knew if they did, somebody like, hardcore fans were gonna be like, oh, this is predictable, so and so is gonna win. So that was why I was kind of like, I was getting a little irritated that they hadn't released it yet. I was like, are they not releasing it because they know like we're gonna call them on their bullshit, or like,
I mean, with the competitors that are there, with the exception of the Joker, who we're gonna get into that, right?
yep,
With the exception of the Joker, I mean, it's not that predictable, which makes me a little happy. Like, I don't see Adam Cole losing, so I think Adam Cole at least advances. But then, who does he face, Jeff, or does he face Darby? So who wins on that match? I don't know, because I could have Darby winning the whole thing. I could have Adam Cole winning the whole thing. So, but then do you have Adam Cole versus O'Reilly when that's been done in WWE, and then you're gonna get the WWE marks out there, be like, oh, look what they're doing in the finals, and then you
yeah,
have you have Samoa Joe coming in there. So I mean, I don't think it's that predictable right now. So it kind of makes me happy. And then the whole Joker aspect of it. I mean, does the Joker job to Samoa Joe, or does the Joker beat Samoa Joe? It's like, I don't think it's that predictable right now. So that I kind of like it right
yeah. No, I agree. So Raz asked, that would be good. However, we would still need the payoff of Sting and Darby. Does Sting get the revenge, or does he get put out completely to elevate Darby? I think, and I'm glad you mentioned it, because I mean, like I said, if Darby goes off the Darby goes off the deep end and beats the shit out of Sting, I think Sting would have to dip out. You know, and I think it would be a perfect time for him to dip out because you know he got to do a bunch of stuff that he would have never have done had he not gone to AEW. And he got to have fun while doing it. So I think it would just be the perfect time to be like, okay, like here's Darby's rub. Darby's good. I'm out. You know,
So you think he's done with AEW then?
I wouldn't say done with AEW. I think done with in ring competition at least for the foreseeable future. I mean, dude's almost 60. You know,
No dream matches you want to see?
I mean, what's another dream match?
You know, the GOAT, Chris Jericho, perhaps.
I'll tell you what, man. I was asking myself this the other day, man. How long do you think Jericho has?
Oh, don't ask me that, man. You made me cry.
Dude, I'm
Uh,
telling you, I did the same thing with Sean, dude. When Sean retired 12 12 years ago, dude, I told myself I was done with wrestling. I didn't watch for 2 or 3 years.
oh
So
man,
I feel you on that, man. Like,
Chris Jericho. I mean, he's what 51, 50.
yeah,
I don't even know. I mean, obviously his
he
title
looks
days
in
are
phenomenal
done.
shape.
Yeah, he had to. He got sick. Remember, he got sick
Yeah,
a couple months back. So I
yeah,
think he's got maybe another 2 or 3 years, and then he'll probably maybe go into like a Sting role or something. I mean,
yeah,
he's very invested in AEW. I mean, I don't see
absolutely.
him. I don't see him leaving, but at the same time, I mean,
No,
Cody
I
just
don't
did.
think
So
I, I don't think any of these guys will leave. I think these guys will stay and help, especially Sting. I don't see Sting. I see Sting staying around for a while. So
I feel like maybe Chris will eventually go into, because I mean he's already doing the commentary on Rampage. I think maybe they're grooming him. When Jr. finally leaves, maybe, and he becomes him and Excalibur, however long Excalibur stays. I mean,
yeah,
and then helps with the booking wise and everything. I mean, I don't know. I think Jericho's there. I think Jericho's going to be a lifer. But as far as in ring, I think maybe he's got like 2 years with this
Yeah,
whole Jericho Appreciation Society, which is gold, by the way.
dude, it
I,
is.
I laugh
I,
all the time.
I don't know. Jericho would be good to be like Flair was in Evolution. Yeah, I could see Sting being like I could see Sting doing more managerial things, more backstage things, maybe coming back once every 3 months or something. But at
If
his
if
age,
if Darby turns, does Sting maybe just follow him?
maybe.
Get like a dark Sting?
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it, man. I love it when wrestlers can go out there and reinvent themselves. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Here's my thing. If it doesn't work, like admit that it didn't work and let's just go back. Don't spend 5 years trying to cram an idea down my throat that
Oh yeah,
I
one
and a
hundred
bunch of
percent.
other people like Roman Reigns, where they spent 5 years with Roman Reigns trying to cram Roman down our throats and then finally said, okay, well now we're gonna do this.
Sting
Now we're finally
reinvented
gonna turn.
himself with the Joker.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Sting can do it. You know, if it works, I think it could work if it's the right situation. Will everybody else like it? Will it work for everybody else? I don't know. We would definitely have to see.
Right.
What do you think about the Blackpool Combat Club?
Blackpool Combat Club is interesting, but I'm a big squash match guy. I can't stand it. So I mean, I want to
I
see that. I want to see them. All right, they had their couple squashes, with these random mixtures, but we're gonna start needing some substance. Otherwise, it's gonna die quickly. You
I
know.
agree. I
You know.
agree. There's those people out there that I've ran into a lot of people that not only have talked about like the Blackpool Combat Club, they've also talked about Wardlow and stuff like that.
I'm
All
glad you
that good
mentioned
stuff.
Wardlow. I've been meaning to ask you a question about Wardlow.
So like those all these squash matches, like it's cool for 3 4 weeks, but after that, like then it's like okay, I mean, yeah, you're badass because you're beating guys that nobody knows their name,
Mm-hmm.
like, or nobody gives a shit about. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
plenty of people on AEW's roster that you could beat the shit out of for, 5 6 7 8 weeks, but like, it's going to start getting boring.
Well said.
You're not a badass to me if you keep doing that.
That's what I'm saying. I've always hated the squash matches. Like Jade got real boring to me quickly because she was
Yeah.
doing so many squash matches.
Yep.
You know, Wardlow, I like him, um, but the big question that I've been meaning to ask you: who is Wardlow after MJF?
I
Does he
I
stay
think
hot?
that's I think that's I think that's something that they've been trying to do. The face of the Revolution ladder match, all that stuff. So they're trying to give him an identity after, or so he has something to carry himself with after MJF. And I agree, man. I hope he's able to. Um, you know,
I mean, he's great right now. The whole gimmick that he's doing with the whole, bringing the securities, he's in cuffs, and MJF basically treating him like shit. But it's like, where's the story after? Can this guy drop good promos? Promos are a big thing in wrestling. I mean, the guy just says 3 words, I'm going to kill MJF, and that's it.
yeah,
What happens after? You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I agree. There's got to be some substance there for when he leaves. I'm not a huge fan of of squash matches after 4 or 5 weeks. So after he beats MJF, where does it go from there?
I mean, at least lately, the mercenaries, so to speak, that MJF's been throwing out there, they haven't been just randoms. You know what I mean? Like tonight against Morrison, I thought that was pretty good. Morrissey, did I say Morrison?
Yeah,
Yeah, Morrison. I thought that was pretty good. I kind of wish the match would have been better because I mean he's a pretty big Impact star, so I thought the match would be a little better.
yeah,
But it's just the things like that worry me already because the past couple weeks, he faced Lance Archer, he faced him. I forgot who he faced before Lance Archer. Um, but those matches, while bigger names, are still squash matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he squashed Morrissey today,
Yeah. I mean,
and that's a top Impact star. That's not like a mid Carter right now on Impact. He's one of the top guys.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
and he
Uh,
he squashed him.
yeah.
So
So I mean, I hope Morrissey got paid well for that, because like I said, he's going to be expected to go back to Impact, and it's not going to do much for him because everybody's going to be like, well, you just got your ass kicked by Wardlow,
mm-hmm. An
you
up and
know, and
comer like
yeah,
Wardlow still in my opinion does not have an identity. So he got
yeah,
squashed by a guy that doesn't have an identity.
yeah,
Because after MJF is this guy going to come out and because he's going to beat MJF. I mean, we all know that, right?
yeah.
I mean,
He has to.
he's got to beat
He has
MJF.
to. If he doesn't beat MJF, then you've wasted our time for the past 2 years. He has to beat
Yeah.
MJF.
Yeah, so
Um,
I don't think this is going to be one of those matches where how AEW's big on the part twos and the part threes.
no,
I don't think it's going to happen with this. I think it's going to be a one and done, and he has to go over on MJF because MJF is super over.
yeah,
So, but it just worries me because honestly, like nowadays with these big guys, I'm not a fan of them. They're just boring. Everyone is always trying to be the next Brock Lesnar.
yep,
So
absolutely,
Brock Lesnar, in my opinion, is the most successful, like gigantic muscle head of all time.
yep.
And
And and this might be extremely controversial, but Brock Lesnar was only that way before leaving WWE in 2004.
no, yeah,
When he came back in 2012, I can count I can count on one hand how many matches were worth a shit that he had.
oh yeah,
And it's understandable. Like I get it. The dude had diverticulitis. He can't, he couldn't go out there and have 20-minute matches. And number two, after shitting on CM Punk's idea of implementing UFC style into WWE for so many years, Vince finally lets Brock do it and turns Brock into the most undeniable thing in the world.
yeah.
So I yeah no
I
I
kind I kind of see the similarities. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not calling, Wardlow Brock Lesnar here, but I kind of
yeah
see the similarities that like AEW is trying to build him as this unstoppable force, big man. But it's like those characters get boring really quickly. I mean,
they do.
Powerhouse Hobbs, I'm sorry, he's already lost. I
Lance
mean,
Archer,
Lance Archer lost. Like,
he's
first of all,
not that yeah, like
look,
the dude's not the murder hawk anymore.
exactly.
Like
And honestly, you not to veer off of what we're talking about, but Lance Archer should not have lost to Cody. Lance Archer should have won that TNT championship.
yeah yeah
And him losing to Cody buried him.
yeah. So Raz, I agree with to jump to Raz's comments, man. He mentioned Wardlow needs to migrate to going after titles after this feud with MJF, and
Yeah, for sure.
I absolutely agree. In fact, if they're willing to put the title on CM Punk, then that would be a perfect segue for Wardlow to jump into there and go
So
after.
so I have a weird prediction I got a lot of heat about. So I think, going into the title picture, I think CM Punk's winning the championship. I think it needs to happen. I don't know if you've seen my video yet that I posted earlier, but I think he wins. Hangman's been kind of stale, which is unfortunate because I love Hangman. I think Hangman's great, but I feel like they didn't book his championship run very well. I mean, you had this epic match to win it from Omega, and then you had these two matches against Danielson, and after that, it's just gone down.
Yeah,
You know,
and we've kind of talked about this on we've kind of gone back and forth on this with on this show about like Hangman Page is better with the chase. That's true.
yeah,
Um, However, Hangman has such amazing amazing character work building up to that chase.
yeah,
And what I would have liked to have seen when when Hangman won the title was I would have liked for him to continue to do the drunken cowboy act. I think it
Yeah.
would have been I think it would have been more entertaining. I think, to kind of I hate using the term. I think it's stupid, but the millennial cowboy, he could have been like the drunken millennial cowboy slash Stone Cold type character.
No, I agree because they wanted to make him a face, and he started doing this nonsense with the Dark Order. Which, don't get me started with
Yeah.
the Dark Order. Like, the Dark Order faction should not have.
What do you do with it though, man?
Oh
I mean,
man, that's a whole nother conversation. I mean,
I know, like I'm right there with you. I mean, you're
because
never
look at their faction, and I don't want to word this wrong, because I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful, but with the unfortunate passing of Brody Lee, their faction went with it. If
Yeah,
that make
no,
if that makes sense, and I'm not
a
trying to be
thousand. No,
disrespectful
no,
at
no, no,
all, or
not disrespectful. No,
you
that's
know,
not disrespectful.
you know.
It's that's how it is. I mean, like Brody Lee had created his identity surrounding the Dark Order.
Hmm.
Without Brody Lee, there is no Dark Order now, unless you, unless you,
Which is crazy to me because
yeah,
Dark Order was such a apparent, and they were a staple on Dynamite.
before Brody Lee even got there.
Exactly. So
But like I
why
said,
did the
they,
faction just fizzle out? And I think because they put so much respect on Brody, which, rightfully so. Yeah, he's great.
yep.
But I mean, the faction shouldn't have fizzled. I mean, even
After,
Evil Uno, I'm a huge Evil Uno fan. The guy is great on the mic. The guy puts on decent matches. Why couldn't he lead in the interim or lead outright? I mean,
yeah,
but I
agreed.
mean, the obvious answer would be, Bray Wyatt, or Rotunda, whatever the hell his name is. I don't even know.
Yeah,
But I mean, who knows now? Because now it's just like they become a carnival act to me, and the fact that Hangman surrounded himself with them, I thought that hurt his character. And I agree with you. He should have stayed that drunken guy, but it's just I don't know.
yeah.
It's just no.
So yeah, I'm a huge Hangman Page fan. I wore my shirt. I got the whole 9 yards going on the night he won the title, man.
Got that
I
cowboy
was
shit going.
Yep, yep. And so I marked out like crazy when he finally won that match, and I had a friend who had brought it up to us when we went to Dynamite prior to him winning. He said it's about the chase for Hangman, dude. And if there's no chase, where does Hangman go after that? And I was like, oh man, Hangman's good. Hangman's good. He'll figure it out. And I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the booking. He's had great matches. Don't
I
get me
think
wrong.
they
He's had fantastic matches.
he's had a great matches. I think
Yeah.
that AEW wanted a face as
Yep.
champion. 'Cause, first of all, Omega did some epic shit. But I felt like we were back in the territory days with his run.
Yep.
Going to Impact, going to New Japan, like all this stuff, like
Yeah.
the AAA World Championship, like, and then I think he had um, the unfortunate draw to follow that epic run that they did. So it's like you're automatically gonna be like, oh, it's not as good as Hangman's run. It's boring. And they wanted this face right after this epic heel that Omega was, and they just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
a booking issue. I don't think it's a Hangman issue because Hangman's great.
Yeah. No, like I said, he had great matches. He does great promo work. I think it's just the booking, and that's a different video for a different time. I mean, I could go 3 days about the booking.
Oh yeah,
Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I love AEW. I like Tony Khan. I get irritated with people's like bashing of Tony Khan. Um,
for
you
Tony
know,
Khan not really being in the industry and then just buying this company, I thought he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, this
yeah,
guy, it's not like he grew up in the wrestling universe and he's
no,
just all about the thing. I mean, he's learning, he's becoming more comfortable even coming on TV because if you remember the first couple of years, he refused to go on TV.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be on TV.
Yeah.
So
And
I mean,
it's funny, man. I I told myself I wouldn't say this on live because I knew I would get like some kickback on it. But there's a lot of people who make fun of him and that are like that make fun of the way he talks and stuff like that. And they'll make jokes about like him being on cocaine and stuff
oh
like
my
that.
god,
Dude, you want my honest opinion? I think he's I think he's on the spectrum.
maybe.
I think he's awkward. And when people make fun of him, I'm like, yo, that's a dick move, dude. Like, would you make fun of a kid like that? Like, come on, man.
He might be. He might be.
Like he's very eccentric. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's extremely smart, but he's, you know, he's got a. I've got an autistic son, and he acts just like my autistic son, just like him.
I mean, maybe.
And so like when people are like, oh, I think he's a cokehead, I'm like, wow, you're a piece of shit.
It's just, dude, on TikTok and everything else, there's just so much trolls, man. People just want to say shit
Yeah.
just to say shit.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like sometimes,
Uh,
even when I'm doing my TikTok videos, like people always comment, and I also see people scrolling and calling people out, like highlighting their comments, and I'm just like, I think I've only done that once, and I rarely do that just because it's like this is what they want. That
yeah.
you're just glorifying the trolls.
Yeah. Absolutely. I, So Raz brought up a point when we were talking about Warlock. He said Hangman needs to be that one person to come at him and claim he isn't good enough. So, and I wasn't sure if Raz was talking about Punk or Wardlow. So, uh,
I mean, I
let
want to
me.
see heel Punk. I mean, this whole love fest with CM Punk with the universe is fake as fuck. So I live in Chicago, if you can't tell with my
Yeah,
fucking okay. I've seen this guy. I work at the airport as well. This guy, I love him, but he's a piece of shit. I
he's a little bit of a dick. So,
he is. I've seen him a million times in person. Okay, and not that I've paid for it. Like I said,
yeah,
he lives 15 minutes from me. He lives down the like literally down the street, like 15 minutes. I only have to take one road. I've seen him plenty of times in the area. I've seen him a million times at the airport. The guy is unapproachable.
yeah,
Unless you're a kid,
yep,
he's a piece of shit. So
yeah,
this whole love fest with the AEW freaking fan base, it just needs to
yeah,
stop because I'm there watching it and he's just like, "Oh, I came back for you. I love you guys," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, you could give a shit. Give me that heel Punk. Just be
yeah.
real. I want to see the true CM Punk being the dick that he is,
Well,
and that's what I want to see.
and I mentioned this last week or the week before. It's not so much that it's babyface Punk because babyface Punk in WWE was good. It was entertaining. He had good stuff. It's you're right. It's this. I love you. I'm so happy to be here. I can't wait to sing Kumbaya with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not sincere, man. Like it's not believable. And I know you're a little bit of an asshole. So I mean, hey, that's cool. And you could still be a baby face and be a dick. You know, I mean, people still cheered you even though you were a dick to Eddie Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, that veered off of my point. There we go. So
yeah,
speaking of Eddie Kingston, so I think this is one of my big time takes right now. Everyone's saying like, "Oh, MJF should be the champion," and they're probably right, but I don't think. I think they're gonna still wait on MJF. I think honestly, MJF's not till maybe 2023 to be honest. Um, but I think that CM Punk wins, and I think he loses it whenever he's ready to lose it to Eddie Kingston.
you think so?
And I think so. I think he loses to Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston has been owed that. I mean, the hardcore wrestling fans know that Eddie Kingston's been around for a long time. Unless you're
Yep.
a WWE mark, you've never heard of Eddie Kingston. But Eddie Kingston's been around for a very long time. The guy does great work. The guy is amazing. He's besides Chris Jericho, obviously everyone knows I'm a freaking Chris Jericho love Fest. Okay, he's probably my favorite wrestler in AEW right now. He's the most entertaining. I love everything he's doing. The whole feud with Chris Jericho is just amazing, and the whole thing that he did with CM Punk I thought was great. But they didn't have the great payoff that I wanted to see. I thought that match at Revolution was Revolution. That match at Revolution, I don't think it was great. I think they could have done better, and I think they do better. And I think CM Punk gives Eddie Kingston his due, and I think he'll drop the title to Eddie Kingston.
I wouldn't hate it, man. Like I said, I would love to see Punk turn heel and go on a nice run, and then come face to face with Eddie Kingston, and then drop it to Kingston. So, um,
Do you remember that match with John Moxley and Eddie Kingston for the championship?
yeah,
I literally
yeah.
thought Kingston was going to win that match so many times, and I was
I
like, "What is going on?" Like it was nuts.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so we talked about Wardlow defeating Morrissey. We talked about
Who's the
uh,
Joker?
who I'm afraid. I'm afraid that the Joker is going to be either Sanjay Dutt or that big giant elf looking dude that they've got with them, or uh, is Jay Lethal in the tournament?
He's not.
I, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see them. I don't see them swaying away from this feud that Samoa Joe has going on. If um, the only way I could see it being is if it is an actual Joker, and then Sanjay Dutt or Jay Lethal costs Samoa Joe the match. That's the only way I could see that happening.
So I think that's the obvious prediction, and I pretty much agree with that. I think it's going to happen. And Raz just said it. I think it's Cesaro,
You do?
and I hope not, but I think it's
Yeah.
Cesaro. I don't
I
think I think Cesaro should not be in AEW. I think he needs to go to like Impact or somewhere else. I don't think there's a place for him. But I think it's either someone that's already under contract with AEW. So like you said, it could be furthering this feud with Lethal or maybe Miro. I know Miro's in filming some type of movie. So maybe Miro shows up and comes back.
Yeah.
Or I think it's Cesaro or Gargano. And
I'd like to
honestly,
see Gargano.
I would love to see Gargano, but I do not want to see Cesaro. Like I know Cesaro was great in the Indies, and I know he has a lot of fan
Yeah.
base, but I think he will have the same problems in AEW that he did in WWE, and that's getting lost in the shuffle.
Yep.
So
No, I agree. Raz said that he thinks Cesaro would be better for a new launched ROH, and I would love that. Um,
so is that
the
what they're doing? Like we don't
God,
even know what they're gonna do at ROH.
I
I
don't
mean,
know,
honestly,
man.
there's no direction right now.
There isn't.
I th-
And
I really think he just bought it just for the video library because there's rumors they're gonna sign with HBO Max and you
I,
know
I don't think he bought it just for the video library. I think that he does have intentions on doing something with it. However, I just think that he's trying to iron out a bunch of details about it because he's mentioned on several times that Tony Khan has mentioned that he does all the booking for AEW,
now
and yeah, now
now. Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, so if he announced next week or next month, like, hey, we're gonna launch ROH Wrestling Saturday nights exclusive to YouTube. Who's gonna book that? It's gonna be Tony Khan. So let him let's let his AEW guys win some titles, and let's let the AEW guys win the ROH titles. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's let's iron out these details, and then let's figure out what we're going to do. Khan is not like Vince. He has a respect for the legacy of ROH. Yeah, I think that's the only reason that appealed to Tony to buy it was is when when they were going bankrupt and they were gonna shut down. I think that I think the reality was is Tony was like, okay, I don't want to see that. It's one of the wrestling promotions I fell in love with when I was younger. I'll buy them, and we'll go from there. And like I said, I hope that that's what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the drawing board and figure this thing out, logically, instead of him trying to book Dynamite, Rampage, Dark Elevation, and ROH all by himself with no help. Then then it's just going to be like, okay, what are you doing? You know,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see the vision yet. It's just you're having
and
all
I
these
think
different
that
title matches now, and it's like you eventually
well,
have to do something with it.
yeah. So there was some issues with those title matches though, like the ROH Supercard thing. That event was announced for WrestleCon weekend months prior to Tony buying it. And what happened when Tony bought it? Everybody was like, "Well, what is he going to do with Supercard of Honor?" I mean, are we even going to have a Supercard? We're 2 weeks out and there's no matches. All these people that complained and ran their mouth, and you know, like it's so funny, dude. Like people ran their mouth about Tony buying ROH. Like, well, you did you notice that Tony bought ROH after everybody's contract expired, so he didn't renew anybody's contracts or pick up anybody's contracts. Okay, that you can call that a dick move, or you can blame Sinclair, who was going to release everybody from their contracts anyways.
True.
If I offered to buy my local McDonald's, and they told everybody like, "Hey, we're going to fire you on May 1st," and I elect to buy it on May 5th, how is that my fault? How am I an asshole? Like, you were going to get fired regardless. Your contract was not going to get renewed. How is Tony Khan a dick because you know because he wanted to get the product for cheaper, so he waited till all those contracts expired, so he wasn't obligated to. Also, we've seen in the past 20 years what happened when a billionaire bought another wrestling company that had contracts attached to it. All those guys got to do whatever the fuck they wanted with those contracts.
Right.
You know, it
It,
wasn't like that's why we didn't get Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin during the invasion or Goldberg versus The Undertaker during the invasion because those guys got to do whatever they wanted. So why would you buy a company with contracts connected to it when you can figure it out down the road? I think if Tony didn't have any plans with ROH, I think he would have unified the titles. Like that would have been something he did at Super Card of Honor or Battle of the Belts. He would have said, okay, we're going to unify these titles, and then I'm going to keep ROH Video Library for myself, and we'll just be done with it. I think since he hasn't done that, that kind of makes me believe that there's going to be something that, it has been noted that he wanted to reboot ROH and have some of the underused AEW guys featured on there as well. Absolutely. Um,
See,
I would,
to me, I think I'm in the minority on this one, but why not elevate Rampage at that point then? Why not make Rampage 2 hours? You're signing all this talent. Why not utilize the brand that you're trying to make in Rampage and put those underutilized tag teams to use, those underutilized single guys to use?
yeah,
You
no,
know what I mean? I'm
I,
a firm believer with all of their signings that they've done and all these superstars, Rampage should be 2 hours,
yeah,
and it doesn't have to be live. I know they keep getting in
dude,
the way of the playoffs and everything. It doesn't have to be live, but I mean, come on.
when you, when you pull up, now, granted, I've said this 100 times. Raz is probably rolling his eyes. He's probably like, "Oh God, here we go again." Um, I don't get to watch AEW Dark very much, dude. I consume wrestling 7 days a week. I'm watching wrestling every fucking day of the week. Um,
Yeah, my
and
fiance. She says I watch too much wrestling. So
Yeah. My wife has done. My wife and my kids all do the same thing. They're like, "Are you watching wrestling again?" My son asked me the other day. He's like, "Dad, do you watch anything besides wrestling?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "Why not?" And I go, "Because I love it. That's why." So piss off. um, so the last time I watched a full episode of Dark, 13 matches. 13.
yeah, I don't watch Dark or Elevation. I did when it first came out because I was learning all like the new
Yeah.
people that WWE had, but I'm sorry, AEW had. But it's just it was 13 matches. They do a lot of matches and it's very long, and it's like a lot of people don't watch Dark.
Yeah.
So
No,
why
I
not utilize those guys on Rampage?
agreed. Um,
You're saying Rampage is supposed to be more of like the B show and the younger talent. I mean, I think they've done a great job with Hook. I'm like, you can do that in a 2 hour time slot while booking because you're still putting, your big stars on there. Adam Cole has wrestled so many times on Rampage. I think he probably out of all their big stars, I think he's wrestled the most on Rampage on the big stars, and
yeah.
he's one of the newcomers. Oh shit, we got a visitor. What's up, dude?
Is that, is that what kind of dog is that?
It's a boxer.
Boxer. I
Yep.
uh I got a Saint Bernard, man. So
Oh, nice.
yeah. So Raz said Rampage is a subset of Dynamite. I think the only way to make it 2 hours would be making it ROH Rampage. So this is what I disagree with. ROH can't do a TV deal. It won't pull in the ratings. And if you want ROH fans to be attracted to it, it needs to be like ROH. No, no storylines, straight up wrestling matches. The stories happen in the matches, like ROH used to be. That's why ROH needs to be a YouTube or some sort of stream based show. And you can't throw stories on it. You've got to let it be an hour, or an hour is all it should be, with 4 or 5 straight up wrestling matches like they have on New Japan, like they used to have on ROH. Let the guys cut quick promos, no long in ring stuff, and
Yep.
let the stories be told in the ring. That's
Ring
the
of Honor
only
has
way.
never Ring of Honor has never been the entertainment.
Entertain. Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly. So that's how it needs to be. And if he what's his name?
Brizzo, Bryzzo.
Brizzo.
You know,
Awesome.
for the Cubbies.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, dude, I'm
Big Cubs fan though, right?
humongous. I got
Okay.
a Danica blanket right here. Right now.
Okay. As long as
All
you're
right.
not a White Sox fan.
Nah, dude, I can't. I
Okay,
can't.
sweet.
Come on.
that
I'm
was
not.
that was my only fear when you said you were from Chicago. I was like, man, if he's a White Sox fan, I guess we can't talk baseball at all. So
Nah, man. In the '05 World Series, I protested and I was just watching regular TV.
yeah, no,
Fuck that.
I've done that a couple of times. So not with the World Series, but with the Super Bowl. Um, so Jericho Appreciation Society. I know we started to talk about them, and God, dude, I'll tell you what,
It's gold, man.
I
Gold.
I hope what Jericho did for Sammy in the inner circle, he does for Daniel Garcia in the Jericho. I've already Daniel Garcia's character has already taken a 180 since they formed the Jericho Appreciation Society, and I absolutely love it. I
I
think
mean,
it's hilarious.
number one, Jericho's the king of reinvention. There's that.
Yeah,
Number two,
the Wizard.
yeah,
I
yeah,
said, here we go again, man. Here we go with another. You
yeah.
know, one thing that is annoying me about JAS is the constant beatdowns.
But that's what made
Yeah,
wrestling great back in the day, Rez. I mean, we all used to complain about how they stopped the backstage matches and the backstage attacks, and there was no more hardcore championship in the WWE. But I feel like now they're bringing it back, like how we all were growing up watching wrestling, and it was more fun that way. I mean, the beatdowns just add to the story. and these factions versus factions just round out the card. You know,
Yeah,
they
it's
don't need a title revolved around them. They're just feuds. You know, and that's what
well
wrestling
we've
WWE is not doing great at. Is just
well
doing mid card feuds.
well Mark, I'll tell you, man. We've talked about on this show, and I think we've all agreed that this will this will climax with either Blood and Guts or Stadium Stampede. And I think I I have
Stampede's not
to
going to happen anymore. Tony Khan doesn't want it.
really.
Yeah, I'll send you that. I'll send you that report. He said that it's highly unlikely they'll ever do another Stadium Stampede match.
Well, then I guess it's Blood and Guts then.
Yeah, it's blood and
So
guts.
so uh, which whatever pay per view would be next after Double or Nothing, I could see them. I could see it. I could see it lasting that long between the Appreciation Society and. So here's my question: who do you think they bring in to even the odds?
Ooh, I don't know, man. It can't be another signing. I think it's got to be someone. It's got to be someone on the roster. You got to use Eddie
I
Kingston to elevate somebody else.
I think they could bring in somebody, but only have it be for like this, like a one time thing.
Or like
Like
a one off.
yeah, like Eddie and Santina and Ortiz call Homicide, and they call uh Hernandez. Yes, Hernandez and
I could
Homicide.
see Hernandez for sure. Homicide, and Hernandez would be amazing, especially if you're like a hardcore indie, wrestling
Yeah,
fan.
but
Um,
I mean, you know, Eddie's Eddie's been known to team with Homicide. New LAX, old LAX, Jericho
oh yeah,
name
yeah. I mean,
dropped.
he's mentioned them in their promos. I mean,
Yeah, Jericho's name
it can
dropped
happen.
him. So I think that would be the only choice that would make you go, hey, like that's cool. I mean, anything else, you know, unless unless Death Triangle drops out and we get Phoenix and Penta. But other than that, I mean, I don't see any other two guys that could jump in with Kingston and Pride and Powerful and be plug and play ready to go against the Jericho Appreciation Society, other than Homicide and Hernandez.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because there's nobody else really feuding, with JAS, unless you go back and revert to an older storyline and you do with the what do you call it? The UFC team. I forgot what they're called.
Oh,
With Dan Lambert
yeah,
squad.
yeah, yeah,
I'm blanking out right now.
yeah. So am I.
Uh, Top team, American top
Top team,
team.
yeah, America's top team, yeah.
So unless you bring in someone like, what's his name? He just won the TNT championship.
Scorpio,
Scorpio Sky and
yeah.
All Evil Ethan Page. I mean, you could throw them into the mix just because they feuded with them, but at the same time, they feuded with the inner circle.
They got Cody and Brandy Rhodes feud right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what that's what happened is Cody and Brandy left. So then somebody thought of the genius idea. Hey, like um we're gonna throw Tammy and or Sammy and Ty Conti in this.
I thought that's
So
genius.
I I thought it was. I'll tell you what. I'm happy that they didn't wait. That as soon as the crowd turned on Sammy, they said, "Okay, like this isn't working. Let's turn him." They didn't hold it. They didn't do a WWE. They didn't go, "Hey, let's." They didn't pull a Cody Rhodes. They didn't say, "Hey, we're getting booed out of the building, but we're still going to try and play this babyface thing up." You know,
Yeah.
which I knocked on Cody Rhodes just now, but I my old co-host and I we had a theory that Cody Rhodes was Cody Rhodes was essentially a heel by not turning a heel, and he was
Yeah,
doing it on purpose.
yeah.
And another part of me thought, I don't know, man. He really honestly believed that he could still. I mean, they did a lot of like behind the scenes stuff with him, and he kind of like, I don't know, he played it off like he could still somehow get the fans, you know. So I don't know, but yeah, no, Sammy and Ty Conti got the Cody and Brandy feud, and I'm
And
okay
I think
with it
it's great.
because
I think it's great. I just hate the whole, he's the TNT champion, and he's not the TNT champion, and he is the TNT champion. That should drove me nuts.
I'll tell you what, man, I've seen a lot of people complain about that. You know, a lot of super popular TikTok creators were like, they're tearing down the prestige of the TNT championship by making it switch hands all the time. Well, we used to see titles change hands quite a bit back in the day, like back in the Attitude Era, like you were talking about with the what you're talking about with like the backstage segments. You know, I mean, we used to see the Intercontinental title change hands a lot in the late '90s and the early 2000s.
I felt
Uh,
like, I
I
don't know.
feel
I
like
mean,
WWE. I feel like WWE has groomed us over the past 10 years of this idea that champions need to keep the fucking title for 6 months to a year. And
not really, because their mid card belts change all the time. I mean,
it,
how many times did Dolph Ziggler lose that IC title next week?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
well,
It
the
happened to Sami Zayn. You know,
they only did that to those guys so they could keep them happy, so they can keep them under contract.
yeah.
So, but you know, I mean, I'm talking about like their world championships. You know, like, oh hey, it's only prestigious because so and so kept it for a year. You know, it's only prestigious because Brock Lesnar defends it 4 times a year. He's not there at all 12 pay per views or all 15 or however many they have. You know,
So many.
yeah, you know it, and like it was funny because like even Austin bought into that bullshit. Like, you know, Stone Cold was like on one of his podcasts was like, "Oh yeah, I feel like they're making the title more prestigious if it's a special occasion when the champion defends it." And it's like, no. I mean, granted, the majority of people were network subscribers, but dude, like they were still charging $70 a pay per view. Like, and if I buy a pay per view, I want to see the champion. Like, I don't want to see half ass stuff and no champion. So I I don't mind the title changing hands as long as it's as long as there's a payoff at the end. You know what I mean? Like when Sammy won it back, we were like everybody got pissed off. They were like, "Really? Like
No, I
you
was one of them.
Scorpio lost his win streak and you took the title off of him?" And then like they built us up, they got us all hyped up, and then when they got the rematch, Scorpio won it back. And then like I was happy. I was like, we got awesome matches out of it, you know, whatever. But then
The
people were
matches
like,
were great. All of them were great.
yeah,
They were great. That's
yeah.
100%.
There's no doubt that Sammy's going to put on awesome matches. So you know, and Scorpio as well. I mean, like those are two guys that put on great matches in AEW, and they deserve it. I'll tell you what I would like to see. I would like to see them use Ethan Page a little bit more. That would be nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, you know,
I
I
think he's
just
definitely taking a back seat to Scorpio for sure.
yeah, you know, it's just weird to me. Like sometimes, like you know, when you're scrolling through social media and you're scrolling through TikTok and you see like the things that like people complain about, you're like, that's weird. You know, like there's a lot about AEW and there's a lot on Dynamite I would complain about, and getting the title match in the main event and it's switching hands to two guys who deserve it is not one of them. You know, if they'd have done it to somebody who didn't deserve it, I'd be like, okay, this is dumb. But I just feel like, you know what I mean? Like, don't worry, be happy.
I mean,
uh,
don't get me wrong. I see your point. It's just
yeah,
losing like back to back weeks like that. Like I've never been a fan of that. You know, give them a month or something. I mean, I don't know.
yeah.
Like,
No, I agree. Like the back to back week thing, you know, yeah, Sammy could have kept it a little bit longer, drew a little bit more heat. Would have been cool to watch him and Sky finally go at it, and then Sky win it back
yeah,
after everybody thought he wasn't going to, and then Page dropped Sky on his face.
yeah,
So I just I'm not a huge fan of the American Top Team. I'm a huge Dan Lambert fan.
dude. Oh man, don't get me started with Lambert. I love this guy. This guy's fucking gold and needs to be on TV as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Like,
Because let me tell you something, man. Like our generation, our generation killed like they killed kayfabe.
oh, for
Like
sure.
we destroyed kayfabe. There's no like you do you watch that show Heels with Stephen Amell?
I watched the first episode and I haven't. It's just there's just not enough time in the day to do things, dude.
I agree.
Like,
So I have lost sleep watching this show, and it's good. It's not like I really like it, but I'm a huge Stephen Amell fan. Was a humongous Green Arrow fan. Um, Green Arrow season 2 was probably one of my favorite TV shows. Okay, are we thumbs downing Green Arrow in general? Okay, that's fine. That's fine because it did a major dip. It did a major dip
yeah,
after like the fourth season, but
yeah.
season two with Deathstroke, and
And
then
plus, I'm a
season.
Marvel guy.
I am too.
Yeah, man.
I
I'm a
am
big
too,
Marvel guy.
man. Yeah, I
With the
dude,
exception of
I'm
Batman. Batman obviously is always gold. You know what I mean? But I'm a
well,
big Marvel
and
guy.
I think that's where I liked that show was is they pretty much just made Green Arrow Batman, but and then like I said, the show got weird, but those first 3 seasons were. I mean, when they brought in Ra's al Ghul, I was just like, there was like rumors that they were going to have Liam Neeson play Ra's al Ghul for a while.
That would have
Like
been great.
Liam Neeson like went on like did an interview and he was like, if Greg Berlanti calls me and asks me to, he's like, I'll listen. And I was like, why the fuck aren't you?
Right, right, right.
But so tomorrow night, my wife and I, we see every single Marvel movie opening night. Every single Marvel movie never fails, ever. Um, she bought the tickets to see Doctor Strange. We were ready to go, and then my co-host booked us an interview on my I-70 Hot Tag podcast with a local independent wrestler, and I had to back out. I'm
I
like,
mean, I would have done the same thing. I mean, it's cool.
yeah. I told my wife was like, this is tradition. Like we go see these on opening night. I was like, babe, like it's my first interview with a wrestler, like on this podcast. Like I'm
Dude, you
not,
got to do it. Who is it?
yeah. His name is Dallas Cade. So he, like I said, he's a local independent wrestler here in Kansas City. We met him. He wrestled on the pre-show of one of the shows that we went to, one of the local indie shows we went to. Um, like not a pre-show, but like a pre-match before the show because they're not really taped. It's independent. I
Right.
mean, there's like 200 people in attendance. Um, and we went up to him after the match and or during intermission, and the dude was super cool. He was like, we told him we were like, hey man, like it's real small time. And he's like, man, everybody's small time starting off. He's like, so yeah, he's like, hit me up and I'd love to do it. So, and tomorrow was the date that he picked, and I was like, shit. So
That's pretty cool. Good
yeah,
for you, man.
yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yep.
Other than that, man, because like I said, man, I have not been this excited for a Marvel movie since Endgame. I'm more excited for this movie than I was Spider Man, and dude, I was pretty stoked about Spider Man. No Way
Yeah.
Home.
So I avoid a lot of I refuse to watch two things. So Star Wars and Marvel trailers. So I have no idea what to expect because, and every time I see
Okay.
something on social media, I'm like, nope, nope. I'm like going like, so I kind of have an idea on what's gonna happen just because
You're
of my Marvel fan base. But the thing is, I haven't seen any trailers. I don't
you're
watch Marvel trailers, and I don't watch Star Wars trailers. I refuse.
that's that takes guts, man. I applaud you for that, dude, because I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
I
I
trust me.
used to.
Me being like I said, I review comic books. The comic book club on Instagram, by the way. Go
Yeah.
ahead and give it a follow.
There you go. There you go.
I review comic
That's
books, and I have people send me shit all the time. All the time. Like, oh, did you see this? You see this? I'm like, nope. Stop sending it to me. I'm not doing it. Like, not gonna happen. So I don't. The only time I ever see a trailer is if I'm actually in the movies and it's one of the previews. Other than that, like I won't. I refuse to watch it.
the comic book club reviews.
The comic book club on Instagram. That's it. Yep.
Okay. The comic book club. Okay. 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 Um, so I don't know if you know this or not, man, but I'm super big on like elevation, like not like AW elevation. I mean
Oh,
like
okay. I was about to say. I was like, really?
elevation, elevation between like content creators. Um, you know, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go boast about like supporting people, but like I will support you to the fucking moon, dude. Like that's how I am. Um, I've always been like that. Like I grew up in a small town. I shop small town. Like that's just who I am. I'm a small town boy. Like um, so I love supporting local business. I love supporting small business. And that's exactly what this is, like content creators. It's small business. So like, dude, like if you send me a video, like I'm gonna share it. If you go live on Twitch, I'll host you. Like whatever, whatever. If I got $10 in my bank account and you need a 4.99 subscription to get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll pay the 4.99 subscription and I'll find the way to get the 4.99 back. Like
That's what's up,
that's
man.
just that's just who I am. So like if you need help, you know, we've maintained a small amount of viewers during this whole show. Like, I don't care if I've got two viewers or 200. Like, if you need help to, promote something or whatever, you let me know. You send it to me and I'll share it and I'll host it or whatever. So, no doubt.
That's pretty awesome, man. That's good for you, man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, dude.
Need more people like.
Um, so we'll finish it up dynamite here because we are well over an hour. So, and I know your wife. I know my wife. Already thinks I spend too much time doing this content stuff. So
All the time, man. All the time. I get it all the time.
I told my wife when I started doing these post dynamite shows, and then I was doing the podcast on Thursday nights, and then I do a podcast by myself on the weekends. My wife was like, she was like, she's like, is this doing anything? Like, are you gaining followers? Are you making money? And I was like, no, not really. And she
It's for
was
fun,
like,
man. It's for fun.
yeah, yeah. It's like just something I want to do. So, um, so the House of Black and the Varsity Blondes. So you did it for the uh the Varsity Blondes with Julia Hart. Why is it taking so long for this turn?
Um, I think they're building the whole their little entity. I don't even know how to word it of the House of Black. Like, I've actually called it. when it first happened, when I saw the
Yeah, the
face
iPad. Yeah,
paint gradually growing over the weeks and weeks and weeks. I thought
yeah,
it was gonna happen tonight. I mean, honestly, it's starting to get a little drawn out. I don't know if you agree with me or not on that
yeah.
one, but
No,
it's
I
definitely
agree.
starting to get drawn
That's
out.
why. That's why I asked, like, how
Uh,
long are we going to wait for this turn? Because she, yeah, I feel like it was like 3 months ago. I was like, well, Julia's acting weird, uh,
it's
acting
acting
weird and
weird.
wearing
That
an
the
eye
whole
patch.
eye thing. It's
Yeah,
just the bruise or the marking of the house on her face, gradually
yeah,
growing. You saw how big it was on her face today. So as soon as she came out with that, how big that face paint was today. I was like, okay, she's turning today, and then she didn't, and I was just like, what's going on here? I mean, I don't know. I think it's
yeah,
drawing out, and honestly, I'm interested to see why they also chose her. She's only 20 years old. I mean, she's definitely gonna get some type of push when she's with the House of Black. So it's just when is it gonna happen? But I love that AEW has long term. Oh, he said it. Long term storytelling. Um, and
yeah,
I think it's great, but at the same time, it's like I want to know what you're doing with it now. Okay, like what's the plan with Julia?
yeah,
And unfortunately, like, why did they have to do my Varsity Blondes like that? I'm a big Varsity Blondes guy, man. These guys
yeah.
need more
No,
TV time.
I agree. So I they need some more TV time, but I I think they need more TV time to get more practice.
Yeah,
Because
put them on
they
Rampage
are,
more,
yeah, they are, their mic skills are super green.
or give them
The,
Dan Lambert. Give me
I
more Dan
mean,
Lambert.
yeah, give them a mouthpiece.
Yeah,
I mean, doesn't have to be Dan Lambert, but just some sort of mouthpiece to
yeah.
help get those guys over. Because I was a huge Brian Pillman fan. Um, huge fan of his in the '90s, and was super pissed off when he tragically passed away, and um, you know, so when his son started wrestling, I was like, I need to see, I need to see, I need to see a little bit of his dad in him. Not too much, not to be a complete ripoff. The only person I am okay with ripping another wrestler off is Dolph Ziggler, and that's it. Dolph Ziggler could rip off any anything and everything of Shawn Michaels, and it is okay with me. And I'll fight a motherfucker who disagrees. Like,
So you're is Shawn Michaels the goat for you?
I hate using the term goat, man. I really
Is he
do.
your goat? Is he your goat? Is that better? Is he your favorite of all time?
He's one of my favorites. Yes, absolutely. He
Okay,
he is one of my favorites. Like I said, I hate using the term goat, because it's subjective, it's opinionated.
of course.
Um, you know, uh, but yeah, he's definitely on my top list. So
Okay,
him and the very first time I was born in '88. That ladder match between him and Razor at WrestleMania 10 happened in '94. I was 6 years old. I watched that match and was immediately hooked. Been a wrestling fan ever since. So it's hard to not love Shawn Michaels, and everything he's done. You know, I mean, did you see Kurt tell Jericho that
oh, oh, I did, buddy. And there's a
yeah.
video coming. It's already in the drafts. You know I'm gonna troll the TikTok world because I get a lot of heat when I say Jericho's the goat. It's
Yeah.
coming.
I mean, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue that, man. Like, think of all of what Jericho has done, and think of how there's some wrestlers like The Undertaker who only reinvented himself one time in the 30-year career he had. Um, Triple H. Now, he reinvented himself. Now, some people will say, well, he reinvented himself, because the game, the cerebral. Listen, the game, the cerebral assassin, the King of Kings, they're all under the same umbrella. That is not a reinvention. That is an evolution. That is not a reinvention.
I agree.
So, but Jericho able to do it so many times. And I mean, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, Mark, I'd have been like, Jericho's on his way out, man. Like he's getting there. He's at the end of the road. And then this dude's reinvented himself 3, 4 times since. I mean, you know, Taker is a character that lasted 30 years. Jericho is a wrestler who actually competed under the reinventions. Exactly.
Yeah,
Like, so, it's hard to argue your point of Jericho being the GOAT. Like I said, you know, I prefer the terms like favorites instead of goats just because. Um, I also hate how TikTok does Mount Rushmores because
man, I know. I've yet to make a Mount Rushmore video because
here's my thing, like a Mount Rushmore would technically be people who trailblazers of sorts, right? That's what Mount Rushmore was meant to be. The president heads of people who trailblazed, you
right.
know, whatever. So if you're gonna make a wrestling Mount Rushmore, I don't give a shit who your 4 favorite wrestlers are. That's your top 4 list. Like if you say,
I,
hey,
I have people I
like
have people on TikTok messaging me, private messaging me, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna do this Mount Rushmore," and I'm like, "No."
yeah, because like you do that Mount Rushmore thing, and then people get mad, and then it's like they're like, oh, your favorite wrestler is this guy? No, like that's my Mount Rushmore. Like I'd put Hulk Hogan on the Mount Rushmore wrestling.
Oh God.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
mean,
I agree with you.
yeah, I mean, like you don't have to like it. Like I don't like him. I liked him when I was a little kid. I don't like him now because I mean, how much of a piece of shit he is, and
Yep.
how he weaseled his way through the business, and how he
Yep.
kept people down, and you know did all that stuff. Like, but the reality is, had Hogan not been a part of WrestleMania 1, there wouldn't have been a WrestleMania 3 to slam Andre the Giant.
I
And
agree.
like some people will say like, oh, anybody could have slammed Andre the Giant, and it's like, no,
If
it's
you
not
make a
how that
Mount
works.
Rushmore of wrestling, you have to put Vince, Ted Turner, and multiple other names on there. Okay.
I don't think Ted Turner. I
I
think
think
Vince McMahon.
Vince.
I think Vince absolutely,
Yeah,
but I think Ted Turner walked in the footsteps of Vince because Vince was the trailblazer. Like you know, that's what makes the Mount Rushmore like so weird and so subjective to people is you know you'd have to go with the first. You'd have to go with the people that originally did it. Vince took what his father did and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this." And his father called him crazy. His father said, "You'll never do it. It'll never succeed." And Vince took that company and made it public. It's a publicly traded company now. Like, it's those Mount Rushmore things. Like I said, they're always subjective. So you know, whatever.
I mean everything is
Yeah,
everything.
of course. Yeah, it's all opinions.
Right.
So, um, this Ray Phoenix and Dante Martin Owen Hart Foundation Cup qualifier um, this was probably the best match of the night.
It was my favorite match of the night
Yeah,
for sure.
agreed.
So, do you
So
think they made the right move with putting Ray Phoenix in there?
I I do. Um,
So, here's my thing. Ray's amazing, first of all,
yes,
um, but he's super over.
agreed.
And one thing that AEW has done pretty well is building their young stars. I feel like they're doing a pretty good job with Hook. They're doing a pretty good job with Wardlow, but everyone still has questions. Dante Martin, with his brother unfortunately getting hurt, reached superstardom.
Yeah,
He had that match with Omega. That was phenomenal. And now his brother's back, and he's pretty much getting sent to the tag team division. And now he's seemingly, they don't know what to do with him.
I so I feel the same way.
I
I
feel
I
like
feel
a
the same way about Dante Martin, but I also feel the same way about Jungle Boy.
really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, like they they talked this big game about Jungle Boy. You know, Jungle Boy had that fantastic match with Jericho. Jericho gave him a fantastic rub. It looked like they were going to do stuff with him. They stuck him with Luchasaurus. Um, now they're Jungle Express, and they win the tag team titles. And I just feel like anytime Jungle Boy gets to step out and do a singles match, he's he's laying on his back at the end of the match.
So with Jungle Boy, is he gonna be? Do you think he's gonna be a fantastic singles competitor
I I think they don't have a choice.
down the road?
Let me tell you why. They let MJF go out there and cut that promo about him, Jungle Boy, Darby,
Oh, the
and
pillars.
and Sammy Guevara being the pillars of AEW, being the future of AEW. And then they even let him make the fucking shirt about it, dude.
Yeah.
So you don't have a choice now. Like you've got to make those four guys stars. Otherwise, you look stupid making that shirt.
I mean, but you could still be a star and not ever win the world championship. You don't
No,
ever. I mean,
absolutely,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like you
But
could.
stars don't. But stars don't like. Like the same argument we're having about Dante Martin. The same discussion about Dante Martin. Getting his ass kicked. And reaching superstardom with his brother, and now he's going to get pushed back to the tag team. They've done the exact literal thing with Jungle Boy.
He's pushed back to the tag team, but Jungle Boy with the Jurassic Express are a staple on TV.
Yeah,
Now Dante Martin, I mean, is he a tag team with his brother right now, or is he doing the singles thing? He's
yeah.
barely on
Is
TV
he?
anymore.
Yeah, and if he's going to do tag team stuff, is he going to go back to dark? See, like
Yeah, that's what I'm
like
saying.
what's this?
Dante Martin needs to stay on TV. Dante Martin is a superstar. Dante
Yeah,
Martin is super over, and honestly, I think he needed a win.
yeah.
I think he
No,
needed a
I
win.
I agree. I would have. His brother
His
is
brother's
out
out of it.
again.
Is he?
Okay.
Okay.
Um.
I think
Yeah.
Dante Martin needed a win, and yeah, Ray Phoenix was the correct choice. Yes, it was, but I
Yes.
think I think for a business
It should have
standpoint
been
and
Dante
building your
Martin.
product, it should have been Dante Martin
No,
because I think
and
he and you could have
like
had him lose to Kyle O'Reilly, but the fact that he got because the fact that he would have gotten a great win against one of the probably the top wrestlers in the world in Ray Phoenix, I think that would have done wonders for him. And him putting a 5-star match against Kyle O'Reilly would have done wonders for him as well. And I think he needed that win, and I think this kind of gives him another setback because now, like you said, he's on his back. You know,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. No, I agree. Like if if Dante Martin wasn't going to win that match, if he wasn't going to be the darling in the in this tournament, then he shouldn't have been in it.
I agree.
If you were gonna knock him out in a qualifying match, then you just shouldn't have put him in it. I would love to, like, fantasy booking. I'd love to see Dante Martin and Wheeler Yuta for that ROH Pure Championship.
Oh hell yeah,
Let them two young guys go for 20 minutes, and just, yeah, I
hell
think
yeah.
that would be amazing. Um, so the other matches, and we kind of talked about this earlier. Adam Cole versus Dax Hardwood. I think that's.
Are you sleeping on that match? Because that match is going to be amazing.
Oh no, I'm not sleeping on it.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
tell you. I'll tell you what. I'm about to call. I'm about to call Dax Hardwood beating Adam Cole.
Whoa. I need you to post this little segment right here on
I'll
your
clip.
TikTok,
I'll
buddy.
clip it. I'll clip it. I'll clip it.
You got to clip it. I don't think that's happening. I think it's going to be an amazing, but man, that is a nice little hot take right there.
I could see it, man. Ray Phoenix versus Kyle O'Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Ray will win it. Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin. I think Jeff wins. And Samoa Joe versus the Joker. I think whoever the Joker is, I think the Joker wins.
Cesaro. I'm calling it,
I
and I
wouldn't.
hope not. And I hope I'm wrong.
Um, Serena Deeb
Right.
finally, um, going for the title. And
Is anybody else already bored of Thunder Rosa?
that's their fault. That's not Thunder's fault. Thunder is a great talent.
Awesome talent. Yep.
She deserved to win that title.
Hmm.
It was time. They did
Hmm.
it. They did. I mean, dude,
She's
it
the
was the
female
perfect.
Hangman.
Yeah, the
She's the
like
female.
the
The
promo
chase is better.
the chase is better. Yeah, I mean the buildup was so perfect that everybody called it, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is so predictable," but it was so perfect.
Yeah.
Like she got her ass kicked at the pay per view. They decided to settle it inside the cage. Old school wrestling. I love it. And they're gonna do it in her hometown. Like, yeah, she's gonna fucking win it in the steel cage
I mean,
in her hometown.
everyone said it was predictable, but the thing is, when she lost at Revolution, I was shocked because I thought she was winning at Revolution. I was
When
shocked.
I was shocked, but then when the promo was so flat, it caused the crowd to just tune out. Agreed. Yeah. And that like that's the unfortunate thing. Like the chase was so perfect for Thunder. Like, dude, I literally like right after she lost it, right after Revolution, I looked at the calendar and I said, they're in San Antonio for St. Patrick's Day. I'll bet $100 that she faces Thunder Rosa. And I was like, and it'll be some gimmick match, probably a steel cage because that's so fucking old school. And Tony is so fucking old school. That is so old school NWA slash WCW. It's not even funny. Um, and it's gonna be in Thunder's hometown, and that's when she's gonna take the title. And it was great. And then they fucking did this stupid shit with like what they did with Hangman with Lance Archer and Wardlow or you know like all those ones that they've done with Hangman. They fucking brought stupid ass Nyla Rose out and had her fight. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. We know Nyla's not going to win. Like Nyla loses so much that Nyla shouldn't be a face, or like Nyla should be a face is what I mean. Like Nyla is losing so much, she's not a heel, she's a baby face.
Since she lost her championship, she has not done anything. She's just been jobbing out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like that's my number one complaint about WWE with those big guys. I mean, I could count on one hand how many in the past 20 years have done it. Um, Big Show, um, Great Khali, Umaga, Vladimir
God, I hate the
Kozlov.
Great Khali, dude.
But I mean, like, look how many times they did it. They did it where they spent 3 months building these guys up, letting them squash people, and then they
Hmm.
finally go to the champion. You know, the
Hmm.
immovable objects meets the unbeatable force,
Hmm.
and then they get beat, and then they sink to this, you know, bottom of obscurity. And every once in a while, they'll pick them up and they'll go, "Oh, hey, do you remember this guy who squashed everybody? He's about to go squash people again," and then he gets beat, and it's like, okay, what's the point? Release him.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And that's what they've done with Lance Archer, um, Nyla Rose and a few other people. So uh, yeah, man, I'm a huge Thunder Rosa fan, but I you know kind of the same issue that we ran into is I feel like that
It's sad because I'm already thinking about, okay, who takes the title off of her.
yeah
Like it's really sad because she's amazing.
Yep.
and I love her, but it's just like I'm already bored. Like with this whole the whole. I mean, heels are always
I'm
better,
ready for
man.
Britt. I'm
Heels
ready
are
for
always
Britt to
better,
take
man.
the title back.
Yeah, heels are always better. I mean, that's just you know the sad facts. Like
Yeah.
her be
No.
like, oh, I deserve it. I work hard. Like, okay, we get it. Drop a different promo.
Yep.
We understand you deserve it. We agree you deserve it, but drop a different promo.
So we kind of talked about this at the beginning. This Deanna Perrazzo, Mercedes Martinez. Um, are you a John Silver fan?
Yes,
I know that was kind of left field, but there was a John Silver promo right before the main event that he cut on CM Punk. So I'm sure, kind of like what we complained about with Adam Page and the Dark Order. John Silver's playing, the hero. He's trying to call out CM Punk on Adam Page's behalf. He's going to get beat. He's going to get beat by Punk.
I like his in ring ability, but I mean, I want just the Dark Order to be dark. I don't want them to be called the Dark Order.
And
Even
if
then, more to my point, they're called the fucking Dark Order, and they're just like happy-go-lucky team now. It's just like
yeah,
I can't.
well, and like that's kind of like my thing is like okay, like well then let's disband the Dark Order, or at least
But then, what do you do
disband
with
most.
everyone? Then what do you do with them?
Yeah, I mean disband most of them. I mean Evil Uno should stay. But I mean, you know, um, John Silver. John Silver doesn't need to be in the Dark Order. I mean, like he said it. Like when Tony Khan saw him doing the BTE stuff, he's like, "Oh, you should do that on TV." Okay, well, if he's going to do that on TV, then we shouldn't be doing the Dark Order.
Right.
So
I just want the Dark Order to turn back.
yeah,
Otherwise, I don't
I
want to
just
mess with
don't.
them anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. And like you said, I mean, like it's a shitty ordeal. Like it's so shitty enough to the point where you're kind of afraid to say because you're afraid somebody's going to be like, oh, that's not right. But I mean, it is what it is, man. Like uh, Brody Lee, Brody Lee passed away, and like I mean, you can't do anything with them now. I mean, you can, but the reality is they're not going to.
They just
Um,
refused to do it. Cody
yeah,
came out with that statement once Brody passed and was like, "No one will ever lead the Dark Order." And I
yeah,
was like, "Why?
yeah,
What does it matter? The Dark Order was a thing before Brody.
yeah. Agreed.
You know,
Yeah. Um, you know,
that's why everyone goes around and it's like the obvious choice is to bring Rotunda and let him run it because he's friends with Brody and it's like respect and all that stuff. But it's like it's predictable too.
it is. Well, I mean, I don't think so anymore. I think Rotunda has been hidden under a rock for so long that if he shows up anywhere, it'll be a shock.
Yeah,
I think the majority of the wrestling community um, has just kind of not forgotten, but just kind of like given up on Rotunda showing up.
maybe it's on purpose. Maybe he wanted people to forget about him so he can have a better pop. I
I
mean, who
think
knows?
I'll be honest with you, man. I think that the wrestling business, especially WWE, did the same thing to Rotunda that it did to Moxley, and I think he's taken like a long time to kind of like heal, decompress, um, you know, uh, that whole thing, and I think he's waiting for the right opportunity. I think he's seen, I think he has reserves about joining AEW's roster. I don't, I, I have a couple friends who I'm in a group chat with They're like, Impact is the place he needs to go, and I'm like, Rotunda's too big of a star to be an Impact. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah,
He
he
he'll
is.
he overshadows everybody. So he has said on Twitter that he needs to wait for the right time. Yep, yep. So, um, uh, kind of, like I said, don't want to hammer this nail too much. Um, but this was unfortunately predictable with Deanna Perrazzo losing, um, and Mercedes Martinez walking out as the ROH Women's Champion because she's under contract with AEW and Deanna's not. Um, do we see Deanna Perrazzo in some form of ROH in the future?
Hmm. I mean, possibly because she does a lot of bookings outside of Impact. So I mean, she did the NWA Power thing. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
definitely. I just don't understand why she dropped the title. It really, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I'm not a big fan of Martinez. I think she's
I
more of like a. She seems more like a mercenary, like someone that she needs to be in a tag team or a faction, as opposed to someone that's a standalone person.
yeah.
If
Uh,
that makes sense.
that match was so obvious. It would have been better to have Deanna retain for the surprise factor. It would have,
Yes.
and then maybe have her drop it later on. I would imagine they're going to have some ROH matches on Double or Nothing.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I would imagine so. So, um,
Maybe Double or Nothing. They make an announcement as to their what their plan's gonna be.
yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, I could see that happening. Dude, I'll be honest with you, man. I If Tony Khan had a special announcement every week, I'd be okay with it.
But doesn't it remind you of like the 2000s when what's her name from Impact? She would always like, oh, next week I have an
Dixie
announcement. Like,
Carter.
yeah, dude, she drove me
Yeah,
nuts with that. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, I mean like, but Tony usually delivers on his announcements. For the most part. I mean, I haven't ran into one where I was like, whatever, okay, you know. Whereas Dixie's in TNA were it was like, really, like, are you serious right now? Um. Oh, overall, good show. I mean, I have some, like I said, I have some complaints as usual. I told my friend Josh this, Mark, and um, probably 2 or 3 months before I started doing wrestling content, I was probably one of the biggest AEW marks you'd ever met. They never did anything wrong. It was always awesome, awesome, awesome. I swore to myself that I would never watch WWE again because of how they handled the pandemic and how they released all that talent. That I couldn't support them, and then um, when I started making wrestling content, I was like, well, unfortunately, I'm either going to have to watch or you know.
I
Um,
cannot not watch WWE. I mean, I always say, "Oh, I'm never watching this shit," and I still watch it. You know, you just
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it for 2 years. Um, I
I actually left wrestling altogether when fucking Ziggler was on the Spirit Squad. I left wrestling for like 3 or 4 years.
Really,
Yeah.
I enjoyed. Like I said, I always talk about the retirement match with Shawn and Taker at WrestleMania, and then Bill. It was Bill Simmons with he was with ESPN at the time. It was the day after the retirement match. Bill Simmons wrote an article, and it was on the front page of ESPN about how it was time for him as a 40 something year old man to stop singing Sexy Boy, and that if Shawn Michaels was going to hang up the boots, it was time for him to grow up and stop watching wrestling. And I did the same thing. I read that and I was like, yeah, I think I'm done. Sean's gone, and you know, uh, Morrison's done with WWE. I think it's time for me to to pack up as well. So, and I stopped watching for like 3 or 4 years, started back up, and then in 2019 when they started pulling a bunch of fuckery, I uh, I watched only NXT, and that was it. I didn't watch anything else. If I didn't see a video on YouTube or on Facebook of what happened, I had zero idea what was going on. I
Do you
didn't
watch
watch it at
NXT
all.
currently?
I do.
It's
I
good.
do.
I actually like it.
I did. Yeah, dude. And that was the thing, man, is when they did the releases and then Hunter, I was like, okay, well, I'm done watching WWE. Like if Hunter's done with NXT and they're going to keep releasing people like when they don't fucking need to, and they're going to make storylines about it, joking about people losing their jobs, then I'm done. I'm not watching this shit. And then, like I said, when I started doing the content creating, I was like, and I swallowed my pride a little bit, and then I turned on NXT 2.0, and I was like, this isn't a bad show. It really isn't. But I understand why people. I understand why people didn't like it.
You're right.
Like I said in that TikTok I made, I completely understand why. Because you were taking something that you had its own fan base for, something that people really enjoyed, and you were shitting on it essentially, saying like, yo, like, and I feel like it was just Vince. Like you go back and watch that interview with Pat McAfee, and he emphasizes so much where he's like, um, he says, like, do you want to be a professional wrestler or do you want to be a WWE superstar? He's like, a WWE superstar sounds better to me than a professional wrestler. And that was Vince's way of saying, like, yo, like, I don't care about these indie guys. I don't care about what they do in AEW. I don't care what they do on the indie scene. Like, that was his subtle way of saying, like here's what matters. WWE superstars is what matters to us. And that's why you'll see him change the names and do all that crazy stuff. So yeah, Raz, it was a shit way to send off the show. I would have rather have seen something a little bit more. Um, you know, I don't know. I think the match could have been better. I think the match was short,
The
but
match was short. It was. I thought it should have been a lot better as well. Yeah.
yeah.
Especially with a
So
big name. I think Perazo has really solidified her name in the wrestling world, and she's a big name as far as female wrestlers, and it should have been a better match.
I agree. I agree. I like I said, I just part of me wonders if Tony sat down with some of these ROH people and said, like, hey, here's what the plan is right now. Um, and as soon as we get all the details ironed out, my people will call your people and we'll be doing business.
Right.
That's what I wonder, but I don't know. We'll definitely see. So, um, I'll tell you what, man. Raz, I appreciate you sticking around the whole show, brother, as always. You and the young gentleman, L starts with an E. I already forgot that kid's name, but you and him have been staples in um this show, and helping me get this show off the map. And like I said, helped out when I had a streaming partner, and helped out when I was just talking to myself. So happy to have you. Appreciate you joining in, Mark. Um, Dude, I'm happy that you and I are on a first name basis. I don't get me wrong. I have no problem calling you Pro Wrestling Kingpin, but
Right.
like I said, man, I'm a super personal personable person. Um, you know, I make my living that way, and it's how why I like doing this content creation stuff is to help build a community. And dude, the fact that I messaged you at 9:45 or 9:50 or 8:50, sorry, um, and was like, "Hey, want to do this?" And you were like, "Yeah, sure."
Hey man, I appreciate the invite, man. It was fun.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Like I said, I usually have a little bit of structure with it, but I know with you coming on here, you and I haven't gotten an opportunity to kind of like talk some of these things. I knew you were a big AEW fan. I'm a huge AEW fan as well. So we kind of it was kind of like one of those moments where it was like, man, I wonder what Mark thinks about this. And I know you were like, man, I'd like to get your opinion on this. So we
I
kind of
mean,
strayed.
we got 2 hours into this. I mean, for not really talking about a plan and what we're gonna do. So I thought it was pretty fun. I think it was
Yeah,
pretty successful.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, man. Like I said, I just started a new job today, and so I do not have as much free time as I have had. But I will tell you what, man. Either tomorrow night or Friday, definitely, I'll have some clips, and I'll get those posted on TikTok, and I'll share them with you if you want to share them on your TikTok as well. Okay.
No, absolutely, absolutely will, man. Definitely.
Absolutely. Raz, I appreciate you showing some love on the new job, man. I'm super excited. I like I said, as much of a stickler as I am about small communities and stuff like that, I'm also a big. I'm like that with my jobs as well. Um, I spend more time at my jobs than I do with my family, and I really, really, really love my family. I've got a wife and 3 kids. Love spending time with them, love being around them. So if I have to be away from them, I better enjoy what the hell I'm doing. And I took a lot of time and a lot of soul searching with this, and so I'm very happy that I got this job. So I appreciate you
Congrats,
showing.
man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Um, I'm like I said, man. I'm just a big proponent of doing what makes you happy. So uh, whether it's whether it's within your job, within your personal life, or D, all the above. So, um, Mark, if you are interested, like I said, I am looking for a permanent co-host, or maybe if we even switch on, every other week or something like that. Like I said, man, um, helping one another. You help me out with this show, and then we promote your pro wrestling kingpin, whether it's the TikTok or your Instagram comic book thing or whatever
Yeah, man. I
whatever
mean,
suits you,
I'm
man.
definitely interested. We could definitely talk and figure it out. I don't know if you noticed, it's like I've been really busy at work, so haven't really been making a bunch of videos. But I mean, I am off Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so I mean, there shouldn't really be a problem us doing this a weekly thing. So yeah, be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, as usual, Raz, man, if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, I know you said you probably work tomorrow night, man, but definitely check out the I-70 hot tag. We will have Dallas Cade, local Kansas City professional wrestler, on there. Definitely look at having a great show with him. Going to be promoting some of the local events around Kansas City. So he is going to be the first of many interviews we do. So um, other than that, Mark, you got anything to send us off with tonight?
Nah, man. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. It was pretty cool. Love talking wrestling. Um, I've been definitely wanted to do this myself for a very long time, so I appreciate the invite, and we're definitely gonna do this again. So
Absolutely. Again, Mark, appreciate you. Raz, appreciate you guys. This has been the AEW Post Dynamite show with CR Media. Have a fantastic night. See you guys tomorrow night.